Wow, Ripple just dropped all the juicy details about Ripple Swell 2025, and honestly, this lineup is absolutely incredible. Between the amazing speakers they've lined up and everything else happening around this event, I'm convinced we're looking at what might be the most significant Ripple Swell we've ever seen. You know how I always talk about what makes Ripple Swell so special? Well, David Schwartz, Ripple's CTO, put it perfectly when he pointed out something pretty wild. Think about it. We're talking about a blockchain company that's been throwing what's essentially a banking conference for over 10 years now. That's exactly how he described Ripple Swell as a banking conference. And when you look at the incredible names showing up and the topics they're diving into, that description totally makes sense. But here's what blows my mind. How is a blockchain company managing to pull together this caliber of traditional finance leaders? Speaking of which, we've got some seriously big news to talk about. Get this, the chair and CEO of NASDAQ is actually flying out to New York City to be a keynote speaker at Ripple Swell 2025. We're talking about Adina Friedman here, and she's going to dive deep into where our financial system is headed, what digital assets and blockchain really mean for our future, and how tokenization and these emerging technologies are completely reshaping everything. This is huge when you really think about it. We're witnessing the complete transformation of our entire financial ecosystem, from how we trade stocks to how we store them, how we buy and sell assets, and even the basic infrastructure that makes it all possible. And speaking of NASDAQ, remember they just announced their plans to move to 24/5 trading, with 24/7 trading coming in 2026. These major players are officially all in. And get this, we've got even more exciting news. According to Investor, BlackRock is joining the party at Ripple Swell 2025 too. We're talking about Maxwell Stein here, who's the Director of Digital Assets at BlackRock. When you dive into Maxwell's background, you can see exactly why this is such a big deal. This guy is all about designing and implementing products that focus on crypto assets, stablecoins, and tokenized assets. Pretty significant addition to the speaker lineup, right? Now, if you hop over to the official Ripple Swell website, you'll see this whole thing is going down November 4th through 5th in New York this year. And just glancing at the featured speakers list, wow, we've already talked about the NASDAQ chair and CEO, but there's also Sandy Cole from Franklin Templeton. Then you've got some heavy hitters from the traditional finance world too. We're seeing Citi's global head of digital assets from their Treasury and Trade Solutions division, plus the chief product and innovation officer from BNY. And when you actually scroll through the full speakers list, it's like a who's who of finance and crypto. BlackRock, Fidelity, Hidden Road, DBS Bank, CME Group, XTX Markets, and of course, Ripple themselves. I have a feeling this list is going to keep growing, so we'll definitely want to keep our eyes peeled for updates. But honestly, this is shaping up to be one of the most important crypto events we'll see this year. The session topics are spread across 2 full days, and Ripple's planning to cover everything from real customer stories to insights from their team and industry leaders. They're really diving into how both financial institutions and businesses are actually putting crypto and blockchain technology to work in the real world. The topics they're covering are absolutely fascinating. We're talking about regional regulatory progress, payments, crypto and financial services, industry trends, and so much more. I'm genuinely excited about this event, and I think everyone should be tuning into what's happening here. Because these aren't just casual conversations. These are the discussions that are literally going to reshape how money moves around the globe 24/7, 365 days a year, and completely transform how our traditional markets operate. This is seriously important stuff, folks. Go ahead and add November 4th through 5th to your calendars right now. Trust me, you'll want to keep those dates free because I guarantee social media is going to be flooded with information and updates during that time. But wait, let's dive into the really big news that just dropped. The SEC has officially changed its tune on crypto ETPs, and this is huge. They just released new listing standards for crypto ETPs through a fresh exchange filing. Here's the game changer. Any coin that's had over 6 months of futures trading on CME-based derivatives is looking pretty likely for approval. We're talking about a September or October timeline for multiple altcoin ETF approvals. And when you look at what projects could be included, it's exciting. XRP is definitely on that list, along with Hedera, XLM, Chainlink, Avalanche, Polkadot, and even Dogecoin, Bitcoin Cash, and Litecoin. This is the kind of regulatory shift that could completely change the game for these cryptocurrencies. Listen, I really want you to understand what's happening here. These ETFs aren't just about, oh, cool, our crypto bags are going to pump. That's missing the bigger picture entirely. What we're witnessing is crypto absolutely infiltrating Wall Street in the most massive way we've ever seen. Traditional finance is getting completely shaken up by crypto and digital assets, and it's unlike anything we've experienced before. The noise this is creating, it's absolutely deafening. They literally can't ignore it or drown it out anymore. Sure, back in the day, they could just brush this stuff off and pretend crypto didn't exist. They could wave their hands and say, oh yeah, crypto, it's just a passing trend, it'll go away. Maybe they could get away with saying that back in 2020 or 2021, but we're in 2025 now, and this is a completely different world. BlackRock is in the game. Fidelity's fully committed. Franklin Templeton's here making moves. All the major banks have joined the party. And here's a mind-blowing stat for you. Stablecoins are now representing over 1% of the entire global M2 money supply. The shift is absolutely here. It's happening right in front of our eyes, and there's just no way to ignore it anymore. That's exactly why these ETFs are going to get the green light so quickly. I'm telling you, we're about to see massive amounts of money pouring into the space over the next few months. But here's what's really interesting. Retail investors aren't here in those crazy waves we've seen in previous cycles yet. Right now, it's the institutional players who are really driving this market. And these ETFs, they're absolutely perfect for institutional money to essentially spoon-feed digital assets and crypto to retail investors in a massive way. Think about it. These ETFs are going to create tons of buzz. Mainstream media will jump all over them, and they'll get promoted heavily to everyday investors. That's what's going to bring that retail flood back into crypto. Now check this out. John Squire just dropped some incredible insights. The SEC has released these new listing standards for crypto ETPs, and any altcoin with 6 or more months of futures trading could qualify. Here's the kicker for XRP holders. XRP has been absolutely crushing it in derivatives with over 30K in volume and 23K plus in open interest. It literally meets all the criteria. This means an XRP ETF could very well happen in September or October, and if you think about the timing here, remember what I've been saying about the Fed. Rate cuts are expected in September, October, and December. When you consider how incredibly bullish the environment is shaping up for the altcoin market right now, I honestly can't even express how pumped I am for September to roll around. We're about to see some serious fireworks. This is honestly such an exciting time to be paying attention to altcoins. But here's something that'll blow your mind when you actually look at all those ETF filings sitting with the SEC right now. We're not just talking about 11 ETFs total. Get this. Some of these companies, like Van Eck, have filed for 4 different XRP ETFs. When you add everything up, we're looking at almost 18 different XRP ETFs just waiting for approval. And here's the beautiful part. The moment we see one of them get that green light, every single one of these is going to follow like dominoes. Now, I know a lot of you keep asking, but what about BlackRock? Well, Nate Garaxy just dropped an absolutely brilliant take on this. He's sticking with his prediction that BlackRock is going to launch both XRP and Solana ETFs. And honestly, his logic makes perfect sense. Does it really make sense that the world's largest asset manager, who's currently dominating both the Bitcoin and Ethereum ETF space, would just ignore 2 top 5 non-stablecoin crypto assets? He's also expecting them to launch an index-based crypto ETF, and here's his reasoning. If you're going to launch an index-based crypto ETF, which he's highly confident they will, then you're obviously going to launch individual spot ETFs too. I love how he addresses the whole BlackRock loves Ethereum but thinks XRP is a scam narrative. He's like, look, this is pure business. If they don't pursue these additional spot ETFs, they're basically leaving themselves wide open to competition. Plus, what message does that send to their clients? That there will only ever be 2 winners in crypto, Bitcoin and Ethereum? If they truly believe that, fine, but he suspects they definitely don't. So while Vanguard is still playing it super safe, they're all about blockchain but won't touch Bitcoin yet. It just shows how early we still are in this whole thing. But honestly, they'll probably jump in eventually too. But dude, here's something that completely blew my mind, and huge props to Damquak for spotting this gem. Coinbase's Q2 2025 earnings just dropped some absolutely insane data. Are you ready for this? XRP holders are literally bringing in more money per user than anyone else in the entire crypto space. I'm not even kidding. XRP actually generated a higher percentage of Coinbase's trading revenue than Ethereum or Solana. Just let that marinate for a hot minute. This is basically screaming at these huge institutional players that XRP demand is absolutely through the roof, like crushing revenue from coins, including Ethereum and Solana. And we're talking about Ethereum here, literally the #2 crypto in the world. BlackRock's been raking in serious cash from their Ethereum ETF. So when they see these numbers, you know someone in that boardroom is going, hold up, did we totally whiff on this? Should we have gone straight for XRP instead of betting so heavy on Ethereum first? But here's where it gets interesting. They've already got their Bitcoin and Ethereum ETFs locked and loaded, right? So they can't just sit there twiddling their thumbs while XRP is printing money for everyone else. They've got to make this right. So what's the obvious play here? Get that XRP ETF filing in yesterday while the market's this hot. And honestly, the stars couldn't be more aligned for a powerhouse like BlackRock to make this happen. We're staring down September and October with this brand new SEC guidance. It's like the universe is saying, this is your moment. This market is about to absolutely explode. And I keep hammering this point because I genuinely don't think people get it yet. We're still in the super early stages of alt season. Right now, we're sitting pretty in phase 2, like just barely getting started with phase 2, where Ethereum's doing its thing. But when we really start seeing these altcoins go absolutely bonkers, yeah, that $3.60 XRP we're celebrating right now is nice and all. But guys, when alt season officially kicks into high gear, we could easily see that number multiply by 2x or 3x without breaking a sweat. I seriously don't think people understand just how incredibly bullish some of these altcoins are, especially XRP. When you look at the crypto environment we've got cooking in the US right now, it just keeps getting more and more bullish for projects that actually have real utility and have been legitimized over the years by companies like Ripple doing the heavy lifting. But check this out. We got some massive news on the 28th that really shows you where this is all heading. Hyperscale Data just got a huge boost. Their XRP accumulation plan drove their stock up 12%. Their actual stock price jumped 12% just because they announced they're stacking XRP. This is exactly why all these companies are lining up to get their XRP reserves and treasury positions locked in. Look at this lineup. There's like 10 companies already making moves. Let me zoom out so you can see the full picture here. We've got Trident sitting on a $500 million reserve plus staking. Weavis dropped $300 million for payments and treasury. Vivo's in for $100 million on staking and yield. Logistics grabbed $50 million for operations and liquidity. The rest are smaller players, but still, this is just the beginning. But here's the thing. It's not just about the numbers. We're finally seeing that real legitimization from major companies and all these ETF players. They're all waking up to the insane demand that XRP is creating right now. And that's just from the retail side. Now imagine when you factor in the institutional demand too. I mean, come on. Ripple is literally pushing institutional DeFi initiatives onto the XRP ledger like it's their full-time job. And this upcoming Ripple Swell event, this is going to be absolutely massive for understanding where they're taking this whole thing. We already know Ripple's master plan. They want the XRP ledger to become the dominant powerhouse behind institutional DeFi and tokenization initiatives. When you look at everything happening around XRP right now, the environment couldn't possibly be more bullish. Between what's going down with the SEC and these ETFs, plus all the tokenization and stablecoin action happening, man, I genuinely think we're looking at some absolutely incredible months ahead of us. Look, I'm not expecting much to pop off in August. I'd love to be totally wrong about that, but let's be real. But once we get past August and start rolling into the end of this year, dude, I think we're going to watch some of these altcoins like XRP just absolutely melt people's faces off. All right, guys, that's a wrap. Hope you enjoyed diving into all this craziness with me. If you're digging the content, smash that like and subscribe button, and definitely hit those notifications so you don't miss any of the free content coming your way. Thanks for hanging out and watching, everyone. Catch you in the next one. Peace out.